And there we are. I see it.
All
I
right.
see us live,
Good
Jay.
morning. All
Good.
right. Good morning. Well, it's our first show of the new year.
2021.
Thank goodness.
Goodbye, 2020. Don't let the door hit you in the ass on the way out. Like, come on now. And I mean,
I
and you know
know.
what's cool about that is you and I and people at Heyler, the way we run this company, is we've always celebrated February 1st because we know January is just kind of like a cleanup month from the holidays traditionally and all
True.
the other mishigash and with the latest events that have all been taking place, whether it be the insanity in Washington D.C. or the COVID pandemic and everyone reacting to it and dealing with it. You know, it is just lovely to be back in a safe place with you, knowing that we are all doing the best we can to shed new light and make great change. And so I'm excited for 2021, and I'm super excited to be connected with you again on Facebook Live. I mean, how long were we gone? Did we take an entire month off or
No,
close?
no, no. Just Christmas week and New Year's week. Just those 2 weeks because
What's
those
up?
both landed actually on Fridays this year for 2020. And it's like unbelievable that what would have been a big, huge party weekend or celebratory weekend for both. And also Halloween had landed on a Saturday in 2020. There was like all of this build up towards 2020, and it's like wah wah. None of it happened. None of it happened. So
You know, I
that
always
was
view that as a
fun.
wonderful. It's a wonderful thing in its own weird, crazy, bizarre way. I don't think it's wonderful for those who are suffering, and I really do. Our hearts go out to them, and we are people of action and thinking about them and putting our actions, thoughts, words, prayers, etc., all towards their best interest for sure. But I also look at these extreme times as a way to really do the deep dive into yourself and shake your priorities. I mean, you lose certain things that don't mean as much value to you anymore, and you stand strong with the things that do. And that kind of centers me and brings me back. And I start thinking about our guest today and how her commitment to centering and how the relationship and celebrating the body and coming into connection with that. And I'm excited to be able to start that as our first podcast of the year.
I couldn't have said it better myself. You just totally have a way of tying everything together, Sean. I really admire and appreciate that about you. Your communication skills are at its highest level, always. And you have such an eloquent way of tying it all together. So
Thank you.
our show is brought to you by Heyler Realty, the engine that continues to go. And it's amazing because Christmas is normally kind of quiet, and we were able to get 2 accepted offers on Christmas Eve, heading into a long holiday weekend. So it was like drive, and then pause. But then Monday, let's hit the ground running, and then New Year's Day, pause, and then boom. So we have a lot of ramp up heading into 2021. I mean, rates yesterday hit its all-time low, well into the twos. It's unprecedented in terms of what the cost of money is right now. And so I think and also, every article that came out for 2021, it's all about buyer trends. Still looking for, garage as the new auxiliary kind of recreation center, and kitchens, and, having all of this space. And because our house is everything right now. It's our office, it's our recreation, it is
sanctuary.
Sanctuary, right? Exactly. And it's also a place we rest our heads every night. And so, people are looking to improve it, find it, upgrade it, whatever they can, to know that we're hunkering. The way home has changed so significantly. So
Agreed. And, it's important to know, and it's always like something that we start with, is that it is, the show and our outreach is enabled by our efforts in our business. Our business is the car that drives us into our actions and things that we do for others. And you and I are super committed to doing those things and being the change we wish to see and being those people. And we can only do it with the support of the people that understand that Heyler's core value isn't about us. We enjoy our successes. We celebrate our successes. Quite honestly, you sold it short because there's multiple listings coming up. There's multiple, there's our other agents for us are all selling. There's lots of transactional great volume, and you're just so humble with it for you to put the transactions you put together in the timing that you did. That's no small feat. That's real skill and bringing people together at that time. And it tells you that if people are willing to do things at such extraordinary times that, at times that are normally like kind of standoffish for business, they're taking extraordinary efforts that making extraordinary efforts, I should say, means we're in extraordinary times. And everything I've read, contrary to what you would actually probably instinctively think with all the weirdness, is that the business is robust. The market is strong, it's very vibrant. And if you price it right, that's the key. You really do have to be thinking about pricing, but you've done some wonderful work recently, and that is, thank you for that. You should be acknowledged and held at a very high level, because you are a high level. You are a high level professional, and that is allowing us to continue this. So we're excited, and I'm excited to be back here with you on a Friday and celebrating it.
Yay. Well, I'm going to bring in our dear friend Shilpa. She is just such an amazing part of the community and an amazing friend. And I have to tell you, there has been no one like her, where if anything and anybody needs something, she would always be like, I'll do it. I take care of it. I got it. You know, she and I were both parents over at Westwood Charter. And when she joined the scene, and her oldest is just younger than Jake, and she just came on the board and was like wildfire. She just took care of things. She just handled everything. There she is. Hi.
Hi.
I hope your
there we
ears
go.
are burning us to talk about just what an amazing contributor to community that you are. A workhorse like no other I've met, and just always willing to help, always willing to, with that beautiful smile of yours, always saying yes, always pleasant, always just, you know, there,
Too kind.
doing the hard work. Always.
Well, I actually am going to add to that, Shilpa, if I can, for a moment. I will tell you, first of all, you have an absolutely beautiful name that matches your smile. It is just one of those names that you don't forget, which is awesome. So that makes you very memorable anyway. But it wasn't your name that made you memorable. It's the impression that you've made in the people and the lives that you've impacted. And I remember Jake coming in and talking about it, and Yvonne and other people, and then all of a sudden, like, their neurons were firing. And your name is one of those common names that I think ideologically shares the philosophy we do, which is take action, be active, and do something. So,
oh, thank you guys. I'm so happy to be here. Happy New Year.
Yes, absolutely. Happy 2021.
Happy
Bye-bye 2020.
I know.
It really is hindsight now, right?
Yeah, it is.
For sure.
Everyone's got some few goals.
Exactly. Well, tell us, what we wanted to talk about for the new year is all of the shifts that people can make, add some new elements to their lives. And I think physicality is definitely one of those things that never is a detriment. It just enhances and adds value to people's lives, quality of life. I, for one, am somebody who has not missed a workout since December of 2019. So even through yesterday, I had a colonoscopy, and the doctors were like, remember, you have to take it easy today. You're not allowed to do anything strenuous. And I still, not getting a workout last night after dinner, because I felt
That's
fine.
not a surprise.
I don't see any reason.
I know, not surprising at all, Jay.
Not a surprise.
I couldn't break it. I don't know when it's gonna happen, but I know it's gonna happen eventually. But I just couldn't break the chain. So, but I know you're up there in the Pacific Palisades right now at the beautiful studio that you have all to yourself.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, it's fun being.
How'd you get into Pilates as an interest?
Yeah,
so what happened is I've always liked to work out. I've been very active. And the only thing is I like going to group classes. I love spinning, and, I used to run, not anymore. But then I realized I don't like lifting weights all that much. So I'm like, let me try yoga. And yoga is like an amazing activity, but it wasn't for me. So I'm like, I need to find something that, that resonated with me, because yoga, I felt like I had ADD. I'd be in a warrior pose, and like literally I'd be looking around at other people going, I'm in pain. Is anyone else in pain? So a friend introduced me to Pilates, and it's a little bit more tactile. It stems from yoga, but there's so much more. It's more about strength training and building flexibility, because I'm not very flexible to begin with. And it's just a lot of mind-body connection. So I was able to like touch things. I'm very tactile. So I was able to hold on to something and kind of move through the movements and like develop more body awareness. So I started doing it. And then through my pregnancy, I felt so much stronger because I was doing Pilates the entire time. And Pilates is expensive. It's not a sport like you can just go out and do. And, so, you can do mat Pilates, and then there's Pilates on the equipment. And I really love the equipment Pilates, using the chair or the reformer, which back there. So I think what happened was I just sort of fell in love with it. It resonated with me. I became stronger. I think I grew half an inch, although my husband begs to differ. But I think my posture improved. I think I stand taller, and it just made everything a lot easier. Like I felt I was more aware of my body. And even as I age, bending down and grabbing keys, like now I'm so much better at it. I remember to like, bend my knees and use my glutes to come down, and so I don't hurt my back, or, play tennis, like just being more aware of my body and my abilities and ranges of motion has been beneficial. So I think, so then I used to do PR, and I had this stainless steel company, but then I think I went through a transition where I said, you know what, I need to just do something that I'm really passionate about and I really, really love, and I want to help people, and I love being around people. And I remember, I think it was like around my 40th birthday, or like right before then, I'm like, Osh, I'm going to go get certified and become a Pilates instructor. Like I have a new chapter in my life. And I said, when we retire, let's go to the Amalfi Coast and I'll open up a little studio there and we'll be living the high life.
No kidding. That sounds amazing.
That's a great visualization. That's a goal worth attaining.
No kidding. Well,
then
I tell you, it doesn't matter where you are in your life. If you find a passion and you pursue it, you can achieve it. That's what's so amazing.
And I think it's not, and I did feel, and I'm not going to lie to you, that I'm like, okay, I'm 40. Like, do people are so used to having like young instructors who are uber fit. And I was really insecure about that initially, but then I realized, I'm like, it doesn't matter. I think people just want someone they can relate to, and they want to be able to just have a good time and exercise in an environment that's like, that works for them, and like with someone they connect with. So,
well, being around you is infectious, I know firsthand. And so I'm sure you could be younger and annoying, or you could be Shilpa and fascinating and wonderful to be around. So, age is just a number.
Well, I think there's actually a lot to the formula of being Shilpa. And I think what I've heard you say is that in your own discovery, in your own range of motion, in your own physicality, in strengthening your weaknesses physically, you have found more fulfillment, more calm, more range of motion, probably in your mind and in your body.
Absolutely.
And that, right? And I think that the people should know Pilates is really almost a great marriage between yoga and strength training, right? And it really is that missing link that it's very hard to quiet your mind and go into yoga mode. I think that's what we're all agreeing on, right? And it's painful. And if you're not doing it right, you need a little tweak. You need somebody really good to line you up right, which is why your instruction is so key. The other part too, though, Shilpa, that comes across is that your love for it isn't just the love for the exercise or the machine or what it's done for you. It's what you know can do for others. So what are the kind of benefits that somebody doing Pilates could expect?
So I think for what right off the bat, your balance. Like balance is huge, especially as we get older. After the age of 30, our balance starts to deteriorate. So Pilates is based on strength training in unstable positions. So we're using a lot of our stabilizing muscles. So, I mean, really focusing and really creating that mind-body connection and using your core and finding balance to strength train is huge. So your balance improves.
That's huge. That's huge.
That's huge. Because a lot of injuries as we age, you know, like hips and stuff, is because of really like simple falls, like walking up, you know, walking and then all of a sudden tripping on something on the ground, and you can hurt yourself. Yeah, it's happened all.
Did that last night walking the dog. I mean, I unfortunately had enough balance and strength to center myself and not go face forward. But I'm 55. I'm thinking about an 85-year-old. And if you haven't trained and exercised and disciplined those muscles, it's a lot harder to adjust.
Flexibility is big. I mean, most people aren't as flexible. We're not all dancers. And, you know, I mean, my body will never be like a dancer's body, but my flexibility for myself is getting better every day because I work on it. And the other thing is posture. I mean, all of us are at our computers, we're at our phones, our heads are down. Like there's a lot of like, you know, we're crunched over. So just really opening up your chest and your spine and lengthening it. And that's huge. And actually, I've been working with a lot of teenagers about this, not just adults, because teens, I mean, they're constantly like this. Like I am telling my kids, roll your shoulders back, chin up, stand tall. You know, they're like, God, you're so annoying.
That's all of us, though.
But there's a reward for it.
Yeah.
There's a reward.
And then
it's real.
Yeah. And, you know, in Pilates, they say, you know, your age is by the health of your spine. So, I mean, building like spine stability is really big in Pilates, and just building your core, because every movement we make, every movement actually stems from the core. It's initiated from your core. So if your core is strong, you're strengthening your spine, you're able to move better, you're able to stand taller, you're just going to feel better. And
I've always liked the idea or the thought that you're only as young as your mind is and your spine is flexible, right? So there's that correlation. Interesting to that, we actually have a viewer that just wrote in, and she's inquiring, 77 years old. She's saying, is it too late? Are we too old to be able to enjoy and work with Pilates and get the benefits?
I have to tell you this story. It's so dear to me because there's this gentleman who actually had a car accident. He's a client of mine, and he had a hard time just bending down and putting socks on his feet. And he's 78, almost like around that, like 78, 79. We worked all summer long, and I can't tell you, like after 3-4 months, he was able to bend down and put his own socks on, and he did it. Awesome. And he held a plank, and I was so excited for him because, you know, it's these little rewards that, you know, these little, like these celebrations.
Micro victories. I call them micro victories. Yeah.
Yeah, micro victories, because it's just so important to just be happy about the baby steps, because those will add up to the big steps.
Yeah, well, you know, absolutely.
You bring up such a great point, right? And this is, there's no limit to the age that you can experience the benefits. That's critical. 2, we already know not doing anything is deterioration. That's the thing. You can't stand still. You're either improving or you're deteriorating. There's no static. And these disciplines, right, with Pilates, really seems like there's a lot of elongation, like you said, focus on spine and balance, and you see it restorative. So it is one of those things that I think people need more information to understand what it is, because it's intimidating, right? It does sound a little like, whoa, wait a minute, what are Pilates? I know what weightlifting is, right? Cro-Magnon mindset, but it's harder to know.
And the machine's intimidating. You look at it and you're like, oh my God, this contraption looks like it needs to be, it just looks scary. But I think when people sort of slowly try it and allow themselves to, you know, feel what it's like to be on a machine or even on the mat, it's sort of this amazing feeling of you are stronger than you think. And you're more capable of what you think you can do. It's that growth mindset, you know, just that I can, if I can't get, but I can do it. It just
the
takes
Navy SEALs always say your body can do 10 times more than what your mind thinks it can.
Exactly. Mindset is huge.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people need to be a little bit more compassionate to themselves, like offer a little bit more self-compassion, because people are hard on themselves. They're like, oh, no. I can't run a 5K, or I can't do this, or no. But just giving yourself some positive self-talk and, you know, just taking little steps to get there. People get there. Like I have seen it with, women who have had babies and, you know, they're like, I want to come back and I don't know if I can do this. I've got children at home, and baby steps, they do it. Older people have done it. Men who are who think that it's so funny. I'm not going to stereotype, but men come in and they're like, oh, no, I need heavy weights. But Pilates, you don't work with heavy weights. You work on lighter weights. And it's more about trying to really visualize your muscle movement and connecting with that small muscles, not the big muscles. So it's amazing what can happen.
But the benefits are what I loved, and I've only had Pilates. I've tried it about 3 or 4 times. The benefits that it provides immediately, I felt it in terms of the little muscles and the strengthening, and especially the core work is mind-blowing. What it does to the core and kind of creating that elongation in the muscle that most of the exercises I do not provide that. And for someone who really is not flexible at all, I found that the movements in Pilates creates that though, and the ability to lengthen muscles and move towards more flexibility, because the basis at our core as we age is to have the balance as well as flexibility, which will elongate, you know, our lifespan. So it really is one of those things, but it's all about time and money as well, right? And access. And to create the time, to have the funds, to be able to create this environment where we know it's so good for us. And so I think that definitely, I look at this new chapter in this new decade of 2021 to think about what's unique and different to try, you know? And I think our focus this next year on the guests and the shows that we're going to have is to try to push those buttons a little bit. How can we get people out of their comfort zone? What can we introduce to people's lives that would be, you know, unique and fascinating and good for them and different, and just kind of get the, you know, wheels turning about, you know, you never know the influence that one little thought may have on others.
Absolutely.
You know, Shilpa, may I ask a question about Pilates itself and a comment about it? It seems to be that part of the machinery, right, that is designed is using enough tension and enough, it's either easing tension or adding just enough tension to start to actually stretch or elongate or to help relax ultimately and release the locked parts of the body. Is that fair? It's what it seems to be to me as someone who's never done Pilates.
Yeah.
And you've never tried it.
Actually, Sean, you should come in. I'll do a session with you.
I will do that. Yeah, I'm going to hold you to that.
Yes,
right?
Absolutely.
Okay, fair. A deal.
No, it is like light resistance, and it's working through the resistance and the release of the resistance.
Oh, there we go.
So it's both ways. So it's not just pushing out the resistance, it's both ways. You're working with and without the resistance. Within.
So really, it's a very balanced exercise, right? It's not like you're weighting something on one side. You're actually dispersing all the energy in a balanced format, right? So I understand that. That makes a lot of sense to me.
It's great. And I think one thing everyone should know is that you can do Pilates like at home, and, you know, you can start out with some basics. There's some great, like I know our studio, we do group classes. And I think one thing I do like about Club Pilates is it's a large, they have multiple reformers, but they've made it from a price standpoint more accessible than than Pilates normally is. Because normally Pilates is expensive, it's private, but here in our classes, you know, with group classes, it's more accessible. But right now, because of we're in a pandemic, you know, there's a lot of virtual classes out there. And there's a lot of like, even if people just want to start off with like using bands and just working, you know, at their desk, Jay, I'll send you some exercises that you can even post on your site. Just like 4 or 5 exercises that people can do at their desk to help just sort of like open up their shoulders and just like work through their IT bands and their ankles and calves. So, and there's YouTube videos that can help with like starting off. So
it's amazing. Most people are not aware. It's this little muscle behind our lats that's causing our shoulders to roll forward. And for me right now, I have like a little pinch in my shoulder because of all the extra desk mouth, you know, activity I've had for long periods of time. And I've had to start physical therapy because this, and I used to do pull-ups and so forth when I had access to a gym. And this little muscle in my lats, I guess, is just totally deteriorated a bit, and it's causing my right shoulder. And I've got to, so those lat movements and band stuff is what I'm supposed to do right now, so that I can open up the shoulder a bit. I know.
It's so funny. I was gonna throw some bands out there because, and by the way, you did mention pull-ups. You have to use your back muscles to help lift you up. And a lot of people just use their biceps initially, and that kind of doesn't help your back.
No, for sure. Absolutely. No, that's great. I think that providing those tips, and we'll post that up on our page, will really help people. I know that even the smallest building blocks can lead to big improvements, especially when it comes to posture, because that's everything, right?
Absolutely.
So do you have any goals for yourself, Shilpa, this year? Do you have any anything that you wanted to put on your list?
You know what? I actually want to try to start to meditate a little bit more. So I'm going to try that this year. So we'll see how that works out. But I'm going to do baby steps. You know, we'll start off with 2 minutes and then gradually increase.
Oh, that's realistic, right? I mean, how do you eat an elephant 1 bite at a time? It's the same idea, right?
You know.
And mindfulness, that, you know, how many people, listen, I guess what part of the message that I'm getting is it's a great time to start a new adventure. It's a great time to move out of your comfort and start something a little bit different and new. And Pilates is a doorway. Pilates, I think, when you talk about balance, of all the things that we hear about our geriatric population suffering, it's balance. It's almost always the number one thing, and the fear of the fall.
And Sean, you know what I tell every one of my clients, and it sounds really funny, is, you know, we have 2 minutes when you brush your teeth. So when you're brushing your teeth, for 1 minute, stand on your right leg and just balance. And for the second minute, switch your hands and stand on your left leg. And I got to tell you, just doing little things like that really helps with your balance.
That's a really good tip, actually.
I think that, first of all, that is before I start drinking, I'm going to do that exercise.
Oh, God. I don't think I would even be able to do that now.
That's a great tip, though, because I don't think I've ever used my left hand to brush. And so
it's also creating new synapses in your brain. So, you know, it's like doing Sudoku puzzles every day, you know, just tapping into that.
Mind mapping exercises. Absolutely. Yeah. Talk about a great, easy tip that anybody can do.
Yes.
That's a fantastic tip.
And you'll be surprised. It sounds easier than it is. For 2 minutes, like, let me tell you, standing on one foot for 1 minute, all of a sudden you realize, if you're paying attention, oh my gosh, I have to pull in my core. Oh my God, wait, hold on. I need to pull my shoulders back. Uh-oh, I'm a little wobbly on the left side versus the right. So you start noticing a lot of imbalances right away.
Huh. That's a great idea.
Tonight, Jay.
Yeah, that's a super idea.
I am. I'm gonna text you and let you know how it goes, if I fall over or not.
But by the way, you two need to come in for a session. So once
that's a done deal.
once you feel comfortable, I will do a private for each of you. on me.
That is
Oh,
going
thank
on today's checklist.
That-
Schedule Pilates. So that's going to
Well, how
happen.
can people
I'm
keep
excited
up
for
with
that.
it this year? I know this pandemic, and it's probably based on, whether you test and you're clear and you're healthy and you don't have any symptoms and so forth. But I know it's still accessible for folks to try Pilates
It
and
is.
start Pilates, right?
So our studio right now, we do virtual classes, and then we have 2 outdoor classes,
Oh, good.
but they're mat classes. But if you want to try the reformer, it's privates. So we do privates or semi-private with someone in your house. But it's been really nice. Like, we have a studio in Palisades and one in Brentwood. So it's easy, it's accessible, there's parking. It's called Club Pilates. I can send you the information.
Okay.
But it's a nice way for people to get started. And it doesn't have to be overwhelming. I think just starting off with maybe even just a virtual class and seeing if you like it, or coming in for just a trial, or, they can even talk to me. You can put my number out there. I'll call and I'll chat with them and see, because I think people get scared to try new things. And if they've got a friend or a spouse or a partner or a child, like I've done a lot of parent-child
smart.
classes, because it's kind of a nice bonding way for them to come together. I'm here to
How
help.
can people get your virtual classes?
So they do it on Zoom live. I actually teach a lot of privates, but we have a lot of amazing instructors that do virtual classes, and it's on Facebook. It's through a private group. So once you sign up, you get a link to it.
Oh, good. Awesome. Is that something that we can let folks purchase out there so they can sign up to do virtual Pilates and try that and see how that works?
Yes,
Oh,
absolutely.
that's fantastic. So is it through Club Pilates? And they just search that on and get, super.
Yeah. For
I'll bet a
Brentwood,
dime.
Palisades.
I'll bet a dime to a dollar. Our producer Yvonne is already on that, and links are already flying because she's so good at that. She's so good at that, which makes it still so fluid. I really just want to thank you for taking the time to share some of these thoughts with us, because to your point, Pilates is an interesting conversation. You talk about people, and most everyone likes to tell you that they do some form of workout, whether they take a walk or whether they want to train in a gym, which, by the way, other than private gyms, you're not able to really do. You're going to be outside doing things, hopefully safely. But the way Pilates is set up is this is actually it's so safe and designed to not be traumatic to your system. It's designed to ease your system into release and strengthening. And it seems to be a really wonderful way to generate new energy and open up a lot of locked spaces that I think more people have than they recognize. The tension with, and it really is. It's an incredibly effective therapy. I will say that most of the people that I know that are osteopaths or really successful chiropractors and big businesses in physical therapy, Pilates is almost always a recommendation across the board. It's almost always something that they say. So we know that there are great health benefits that are associated with it. And, as a guy, I'm a big, strong guy. I've worked out for decades at this point, 2 or 3 decades. Like, I don't miss working out. It is a discipline. It's where I came from today to get here. And I recognize that my balance is diminishing, that there are places that I'm lacking, where I've overloaded some things and I've underdeveloped other things. And even though I am very flexible, I'm pretty convinced that flexibility is the king ultimately at the end for maintaining balance and core strength. And I'm excited to come and try it. And I'm going to, share my experience because I think it's really cool. Thank you for inviting me.
Hey, you know what? That's a good idea. We could actually record snippets of what your first experiences are.
No, you're not.
Yes, we will.
That'd be so good.
You're the guinea pig. I think that'd be awesome. Hey,
I think my face is turning as red as the orange in the background. Okay.
You know what?
Big strong guy.
I just think that it'd be great for people to see, it's the accessibility
awesome.
and
Awesome.
break the seal of any hesitation people might have to try something new. I think that the goal I had is just think outside of the box as you're be open to new things, new opportunities, and just, you know, stay very present in the moment. And I think,
Yes.
Shilpa, to your mindset of meditation, that's what it helps us to do, right? Is to just embrace the present, because what else do we have, right?
And you know what? Don't forget, like, I know you guys had Angeliki on your show.
Yes.
For mindfulness, yeah.
I mean, I gotta tell you, just what she says all the time, you know, give yourself a break, you know, a little self-compassion out there. It's so good for you, and it's so important right now. So
yeah,
No,
truly.
you're absolutely right about it. The only way you're going to have a new beginning, right, is if you empty out the old and you allow yourself to have room for the new. And the new is restorative. It's new energies. It's new vibrancy. It's new experiences. It expands mind, and in your case, it expands body. And there's such a deep connection between the two of those things that I think create the spirit that allows us to love and be more unconditional and much more giving and caring and compassionate, because we're not tense or tight or shut off, closed. We're open, and that starts to, that's huge.
Yes, because we all, as obviously as a country, can use as much love and compassion and empathy as we can possibly garner right now, because this week has just been absolutely disgusting, and hopefully this is not an indication of how the rest of this year is going to be, because we we got that wart out of the way, and hopefully that it just creates more unity, and it creates, like all the bad events in our history, that we come out of it even more united and more together and more. It's like the bad, it shines a light on the good, right? And so hopefully the achiness that we all felt and what we witnessed this week creates just that bigger light and level of love, and reach out to others that we connect with that create even more of that, and continue to do that. And that's my wish anyway.
That's my wish. I'm with you, Jay.
And it all starts with taking care of our mind and our bodies. And so thank you so much, Shilpa, for joining us today. It was so fun. You're amazing.
Jay, I'll send you some stuff, and I'll get you two on the machine.
Yay! So excited. I love it. I love it. I'm so looking forward to that. That is definitely going to be something wonderful to add as a to-do for 2021. So I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Here's the virtual hug.
Stay safe and healthy. This is our virtual hug.
Virtual hug.
Carrie taught us from City of Hope. And so that is the way we're going to hug you through the video. So thanks.
I love it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so
Bye.
Bye.
Oops. All right.
That's awesome.
All right. Great. Awesome.
What a great guest. What a lovely person, and what great energy she has. And I'll tell you, you can see it in her eyes and in her constitution. You can see it in her smile and her genuine approach. Pilates transformed her life. Here she had another successful career and was working in other spaces, and it was never about the economics of the business that mattered to her. It was this personal satisfaction and growth. And she found it in Pilates. And I'm so curious about it, because as somebody who's a practitioner of strength training and exercise for as long as I have, as much access.
Oh, you're going to love it.
I have access to some of the biggest and the greatest in the world, and what it is. It's the one space I haven't spent any time in. So that should be fun. And I'll tell you this, she's not lying about those socks. Socks sometimes are not friendly at the first thing in the morning. You're like, oh yeah, let's see you bend those knees, old man. Open up that hip. And you're like, oh. And I'm like, I'm only 55. Oh my Lord. What happens to when our viewer that's 77, that old person, I'm teasing her because it's my monster-in-law. I already know that. Can't help it.
No, it really is. I think TRX, Pilates, any of those kinds of stretch combined with core, combined with stability training are the types of exercises as we're aging. Even when they're younger, though, good habits, you can never start core engagement and good habits early enough, in my opinion. I think that the sooner we can teach our kids, especially the ones that are doing a lot of sports, but actually not even, it's for anybody, someone who's on the computer too much, reading too much, or painting too much, or dancing too much, or sports too much. This can create that core stability and body awareness to help minimize injury and be as preventative as possible towards some of those things that happen to young people, because they never, learn about ways to create stability and core in their bodies. So.
Yeah, they actually, I'll say, I don't know anyone who's more balanced than my Charlie. He's ridiculous. I mean, Charlie can do things that are, but it's been a centering, right? It's just been his thing. And so in surfing and skateboarding, you have to have, right? It's all core, it's all centering, and things are moving at the same time. And I've enjoyed that. That's part of what caught my attention, is watching what he can do, and his hand and eye coordination and mind and eye and foot coordination and centering, and leaping off of things that are extreme. And it's crazy to watch what he can do. It's actually phenomenal. And I look at it and I go, okay, well, he's going to unlock that key of a relationship with his body that's going to walk him everywhere on the earth, safely. He'll be able to maneuver and keep himself from injury, to your point. I think the idea of exercise and movement is something you and I both very much believe in and have always professed. I know that in the pandemic, we were getting great videos of you and the boys out there training. Usually had Jake by your side, Ryan a little bit more reticent at the time initially, but then I think he joined in.
He just didn't want to be in the camera angle. He was always like on the side. Same thing with Larry. They're both there. They're doing things, but they're on the other side of the camera, whereas Jake is more willing to just hang in there with me, and he doesn't care. He's just like.
Speaking of which, your holiday card. I don't want to call you short, but you are comparatively.
Short.
You are living amongst the redwood trees. I mean, holy smokes! Even when Larry looks short and small next to his boys, I'm like, Larry, you're like 6'2" or 6'1", 6'2", and he's always got No, well, he's a tall 5'11", and those boys. I mean, Ryan has got to be on the 6'3", 6'4" march. He's got to be close. He seems so tall. Oh, well, then I'm 5'5", because he looks so tall, and Jake as well. And they're growing up so beautifully and handsome, and they're navigating the pandemic and the education. Okay, they're good studious boys and able to do it.
I'm very lucky because they're very self-sufficient. They're actually, even tutoring, some of their fellow friends as well. And the math teachers have asked them to help, some of their fellow students at school. So 7th graders, 8th graders, I mean, they're both doing it. Ryan, we signed him up for driving, learner's permit for driving.
Wow.
15 and a half.
Wow.
It's going too fast.
It does go, listen, it goes super fast. And that's why the core values and as many things as you can do with them now to create those bonds, so that as they fly and adventure into this world themselves, they'll always know they have a safe place to come back to. And they'll have these disciplines, these things that when they're faced with the adversities of life and subject to great challenges, social, emotional, physical challenges that are out there in real life that we all endure, they'll have something in the tool chest. They'll have the idea of the comfort of home. They'll have the idea of a relationship with exercise for stress reduction and for training. They'll have the disciplines, and to your point, we fill them with all the love that we can so that they can go out there. And so, yes, 15 and a half happened in a blink. And I'm going to tell you, as a father of someone who's 35, it was 2 blinks. I went like this, and I'll never forget. My old man told me that. He goes, I was like 15 or 16. He goes, you're going to turn around and you're going to be 30. And then you're going to turn around again and you're going to be near 60. And he goes, and you won't believe how fast it is. And God bless it, he was right. Been right about everything, to be frank with you, in so many ways. But even though I resist it, that's part of the relationship. It does happen.
It's so true. Because I mean, being the firstborn, I never had older siblings, but our friendship and you being a big brother to me and your kids being a little bit older than mine, you're always able to help me. I was pregnant with Ryan when you said, so what preschool did you sign up for? I'm like, huh? I'm pregnant. I haven't even birthed to him. And you're already telling me I should be like registering for preschool. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? So not having grown up in Los Angeles, unlike you being 3rd generation Angelino, all of a sudden you're telling me, sign up for preschool. You got to register for this. Did you try that? And I'm like, huh? And so thank goodness you gave me the wherewithal to think about all those things. even while he was in utero, to be prepared for what's going to be about to happen next. And because of that, I found a gem like preschool, like Little Village, thanks to you and Jill and all of the inroads you made in the school environment, and always being the bounce board and the big brother to me on any advice and what's about to come down the road. What you went through with Jordan and Cammie and raising them, because they're a little bit older than Ryan. And so it's been amazing, because you had Juliet and then Ryan and then Jake and then Charlie. So our four younger kids, they all kind of are like right there in sequence. And so it helped me to really see what was about to happen or what to look out for. And you're such a good father in terms of the advice that you give. I love your saying that you have, that I know you've shared with me, that you have on the wall. It's like always and always, you know, and I love that phrase.
Thank you. It actually, I borrowed it from my uncle, who in the late 60s and early 70s, when everything was groovy, and my Uncle Jack, who was the El Rey, they called him the king. He was a huge personality, and he was a guy at Heyler Realty who had made a great fortune and moved off and bought a beach home in Newport and lived his retirement that way. But he lived a large life. He was one of those people, everybody knew him. I still hear stories about him, and there's some legendary stories, quite frankly.
People used to come into the office all the time,
all the
you know,
time,
and
all the
it's
time.
like, oh, I bought my house from Jack.
Yeah, no, he had it, you know, like it was kind of like sock it to me, right? He had that all kind of like sock it to me. He was cool. I mean, I remember things we do no longer, right? I want to just say this, do not longer. It is not acceptable in our society at all. But I remember coming home where he had a 4-finger highball of scotch in his Lincoln Continental, flying on the freeways, getting onto 2 wheels, because it was the wild west mentality of the late 60s, early 70s. And he was just cool like that. But even with all his coolness and his rough exterior at times, he had this great tenderness, and he would always come in when he said goodnight to you, and he'd give you like a little peace and love, right? So it was like peace and love. And that's how he and my aunt became known in their latter years. We kind of called them peace and love, because that was his saying. Then I thought, well, okay, that kind of belongs a little bit more to my cousins. It's kind of a little bit more uncles, but let me talk about me and how I feel, and the parents that I've been raised with, my mom and my dad, who are really just, they've been incredible examples of always putting things forward. Every other person, constantly, consistently. I mean, they're always present and always in all ways. It didn't matter which way. And let me tell you, I stretched them. I took them. My brother and sister, my younger brother and sister, they're like, oh, thank God you were born first. You were like a freaking ice cutter in Antarctica. You just smashed everything up. By the time we came through there, we're like water skiing behind the Queen Mary. There was no obstacles, you know, because you had caused them so much that it stretched my parents, which was super interesting. And yet with as much stress and challenges I brought to their lives, they embraced me harder with more love. And it just kept filling me to the point where that's all that I have left is this. It's really what I work towards, is to have no other room inside of me but for love. And so it's constant. And I realize to really give love and to be able to make that love available for everybody, I have to be open and willing just to let it flow through. And that's my mom and dad. So that's where the saying, peace and love, always, in all ways, you know. So if you wrong me, I'm going to try to find the peace and love. I'm always going to make that effort, and I'm going to try to do it in every facet of my life. So I don't want to be judgmental. I don't want to be, even in these times where it's super easy to be polarizing with all the world's events and very judgmental about all the different philosophies and ideologies and leadership, et cetera. I really don't believe that's the answer to solution. I don't think that's where love lies. I think love is, it is compassionate, it's merciful, and it's eternal. And so I really just kind of my ideology, I should say, is more oriented to absorbing whatever that's negative, and I'm going to be that transformation. And that's what we do. And part of what Heyler's all about, why you and I get along so deeply, that's why you're my sister in so many ways, even though we're diametrically opposed in a lot of our disciplines and how we behave, we are completely aligned in that we're on this journey to not only improve ourselves, but understanding that by improving ourselves, and then pushing that outwards, we can help improve others, whatever that may be. And it's acceptance, it's the willingness to listen, it's the willingness, like you have taught me a ton. It's the willingness to go to where it's uncomfortable. It's to be bold and to be brave. And if I were to ever say anything about my partner, if you asked me some words that would describe her, I would absolutely say, besides words like loyal and trustworthy and industrious and hardworking, I can keep going if you want, but I will say that you are courageous, and you are, you really step forward. And it's so interesting because your background, your childhood, your life experiences have emboldened you to face things that are frightening and daunting, and to do it with courage. And that courage is contagious. And in these times of transition, where we have a lot of social upheaval and great differences between us, it's time to be courageous. And I'm not talking about social media courageous, because anybody can go behind you and go, yeah, what they said, and copy a meme and whatever. It's actually acts of compassion. It's outward. It's literally get your hands on the street. I filmed a documentary for West LA Homeless, a documentary that's being done about homelessness plight yesterday. It's my second interview there. And the whole thing, at the end of it, they just sat there kind of speechless, and they go, how did you do that? And I go, I don't know what you're talking about. What do you mean? How did I do what? They're like, we don't even have any more questions. You just kept going. And I go, it's not me. That's the point. When you surrender that part and you're willing to serve others, it just comes to you, and it's the responsibility. So Jay, our team, for the other agents that work with us, whether it's Kate or Michelle or Andy or Greg or, and Yvonne and JB, like the team is these are givers. These are people that are committed to making the world a better place. And they're inherently good people that want good things for everybody else. And I think our leadership in Heyler is designed to do that. And I'll tell you, if we're on the right track, and if the universe rewards good actions, it's confirming it, because holy smokes, are we busy with the business. And that's a little reward for all of our efforts.
Well, and you just, I'm just like, oh, stop. And then it's like, but thank you for all that. And I can't be remiss in being grateful for 2021 to bring in a new addition to the Heyler family, which will be the youngest addition, Kate, with her baby to be. I'm just beyond excited. I had opened up her holiday card, and I didn't realize, like, oh my God, it was right there. So
my God. You know what's funny you say that, Jay, is I called her the other day just to check in and say, hey, she, because she was working on the thing that she had discussed with you, and you guided her through, which was fantastic. And she had a different question about a different client. So I called her and I just had to talk to her. I mean, I miss the collegiality of being together a ton. And Kate always brings this great sunshine and energy to the space. She's got a great sense of humor, and et cetera. And I said, Kate, first of all, okay, I'm not trusting you ever again, because I don't know how you kept that a secret all the way to the third trimester, but God bless you, you did. So
well, Zoom is here up, she said, right? So you just never
son of a gun, I'm so frustrated. Well, and that's one. But two, I was like, you missed a great opportunity, because if I could think of two people that could really enjoy not telling anybody, and then all of a sudden re-engaging them, like, oh, hey, and they're holding a baby, and people are like, what? They could have pulled that off. I thought that would have been great. Anyway, that was my twist on their whole thing, those sons of a guns. But yes, to your point, we're going to be welcoming a new family member in great health and well-being. He or she, they have chosen wonderful parents, and so we're here to support them any which way we can.
I know. I'm just so excited. I'm sure not as much as them, but seriously, it was just definitely just exciting news, and something about new life coming into the world, and all of the work that we do to want to make the world a better place than the way we found it. And definitely for our kids and for those that continue to income into the world all the time. Like, how can we continue to just be our best selves, shine the greatest light that we can, and make the impact and do our very best work. And the impact we have is to help people in transition. The scariest, largest, most hardest thing that people have to do, which is to sell a home and buy a home. And we are the king and queens of helping people with transition. And that's what buying a home and selling a home is transitioning. How are we transitioning from what we've been used to? And you are the king of hating change, right? And what you help people do every day is to transition and to shift out of and go into change mode. But what's amazing is that you're so good at helping people go through these changes, whereas you have such adversity to change sometimes yourself.
Yeah, it's true.
But
No, it's, oh my God. How many times has Jill done something in my house? She just showed me something the other day she wants to do. And I'm looking at my master bedroom, and my wife has got great taste. Or between her mother and her sisters, and they have a very sophisticated eye and palette, and they put things together beautifully. Certainly speaks to my taste and style. And I appreciate it. So I look and I go, what are you changing? Because it looks pretty good to me. I'm kind of really comfortable with it. She's just learned, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to wait till you go away, which the pandemic has kind of screwed her in that one, because I am not going away. But, I look and all of a sudden I see a Pinterest, clip or something that shows up, and I go, oh God, there's more change.
Here it comes.
Yeah, something's going to happen. I mean, she's really responsible with it, to be honest with you. She's got just her sense of taste and style. And she said something to me the other day about a throw rug in a certain place on the carpet. It was just different. It was nothing I would have ever thought of. And I just kind of looked at her and I go, well, it's going to happen whether I want it to or not. So just get what you want.
Just give it.
Right?
Give it.
Just get what you want, girl. Go get it. Go get it. And with all the business that's happening, the good part is you don't have to worry about it. Go ahead and get what you want, because Jiminy Cricket, Jay put together that fantastic transaction in the Palisades, a big number target that actually will also transition to a wonderful opportunity for somebody here in our Westwood market, with a great house that will come on the market shortly. Another house that you have been hunting. How long have you been hunting that house on Prosser? How long has it been?
First time we put an offer in was January of last year, before the pandemic.
A year. You hunted that thing relentlessly, by the way. I would look at some of your outgoing messages to the other broker that had it listed previously, and I was like, ooh, it was a little cringy, because it was like, because you were like, I'm never letting it go. Don't try to lie to me. Don't try to shake me off. Don't try to mislead me. As it is, sadly for him and his efforts, he did lose that because the original seller wasn't really a forthright person. And that beget an opportunity for your clients who stayed in and did what they had to do, and hopefully are going to get the reward and the payoff at the end, and that'll beget another transaction. I mean, you've been so productive, and I'm excited because we were able to get that beautiful sunset like that. That really is a lovely unit, a lovely property, to who I think is the absolute right person. And you made that a beautiful transaction by being inclusive to other brokers in that area, which was just good partnership and good business. And now I look at it and go, okay, now we're going to have that beautiful architectural and airs at a much more realistic price. You and I both just had several buyers contact us and say, I'm out hunting, looking for this price point, that price point. So there just is a great air. And then you think of Kate and her beautiful transaction down there in the Beach City area, I think the Marina Del Rey, Venice, is that right? Mm-hmm. And Greg and Randy, who are going to close one over here in the West Side Village, and then working on a big one in the Riviera Palisades. So if anybody knows a builder developer that has a big budget that wants to get into something like that, please look us up, send that referral as soon as you can. So I just see that we have a lot of great optimism, and now we have hopefully a peaceful transition of power, and that's going to allow for more fluidity.
Progress,
with us,
right?
Yeah, without the distraction, without the trip and fall distraction and the vitriol. And for nothing else, for no other reason, but the idea that we can have a little less insanity in our minds or things that separate us for a little while. That's a welcome respite for sure.
Absolutely. And the vaccine, give me the vaccine. I want all this to be just to open up the world. I heard Israel, I mean, they've already vaccinated 15% of the population. They've been so efficient in their process of getting that vaccine out, and the hospitals have it. The rollout has just been hampered for some reason. So my sister is working with all of you right now, and she's doing a tremendous job. She's running a clinic today, and she's getting her second vaccine this morning. She already got it. And so hopeful that, we are closer and closer every single day to getting rid of this thing as much as possible, like polio, like measles, or like so many other things that obviously not as debilitating as this virus has been, but just to eliminate it, squash it, and move back towards what our life was. So I'm hopeful that keeps happening.
I could tell you this, if you can endure, if your business can endure, when it unleashes and we're set free again as a society and as a country, there's going to be a lot of celebration. There will be a lot of joy. So be compassionate, do what you can to help your local businesses, help the little guys survive, because this is a struggle for them all. All the different businesses that we've showcased here on our Facebook Live, from Trove to Gifted to Colin Ice to John O'Groats to Tuscan Sun and Atticus Pies, the Six. Really let's do what we can to love and support them and help them through this, because they're paying, it's costing them a lot to survive, and they need our help right now. And that outreach is huge. And that's part of our mission, to love and support those that we live near and work. And I'm excited for 2021, and I'm just loving that an hour went by in a blink of an eye.
Well said, man. Well said, as always. Well, happy Friday. Happy first, first show of the year. Fantastic. Excited to do home organization next Friday. So
oh my God, I'm so excited. She's no joke, people. Better be careful. All right, girl. Have a great day. I'll see you out there.